Good evening, folks. This is Ron Tyler with Emergency Management Associates coming to you live from the Crossroads of the West in Salt Lake City, Utah. The time right now is 9:21 p.m. Mountain Standard Time in the Salt Lake City central western United States. We are coming to you with a special broadcast tonight. We have had a very large earthquake just off the Northern California coast. This earthquake happened at approximately, let me bring it up again, tell you exactly. It happened at 8:59 p.m., which was 23 minutes ago. A 5.9 earthquake. It first came in as a 5.6 magnitude earthquake, some I want to say 42, 44 miles west of Petrolia, California, off the Northern California coast. USGS is reporting this as being 86 kilometers, which is approximately 44, 45 miles off the coast of Northern California. It should be noted, prior to this earthquake, there was a 2.6 magnitude quake that happened earlier this afternoon at approximately 12:45 p.m. Pacific time. And this earthquake happened, like I said, at approximately 8:59 Mountain Time, which would make it 7:59 California time. These people probably, I want to say, probably still have some light uh, out with the time change. It's probably very dusk there in California when this earthquake hit, and it was probably felt. It was just about 44, 45 miles off the coast. It probably will do no damage. Again, in this kind of predicament, in this kind of atmosphere with these earthquakes off the coast like this, the water, the Pacific Ocean water, dampens the effect of the seismic energy in the general area of the earthquake. If it had been any closer to shore, they would probably have some kind of damage. However, it should also be noted this this earthquake was only 1 mile deep, 1 mile deep into the crust of the earth, which is very interesting, to say the very least. The the water depth itself was probably 500 to 1,000 feet deep in this particular area, if I'm judging the coast of California right. Probably about 1,000 feet deep at this particular area, and this earthquake happened just 1 mile, 2.2 kilometers deep into the earth. So this may have, in fact, um, caused some kind of ripple effect on land, meaning the seismic waves going through the land, through the crust, and hitting a populated area, Petrolia, California, Ferndale, um, and that whole area, Mendocino possibly. Mendocino is further inland, and if it felt anything, it was just a slight rumble under their feet. But right there near the coast of Ferndale, Petrolia, California, and such, this earthquake may have generated some concern. It probably felt much like a small 3.5 to 4.0 magnitude earthquake. But we wanted to come on the air to tell you about this. Um, One other thing that we should note is that in this particular area, too, just south and east of this area is the geysers. Now, the geysers tend to have a few earthquakes there themselves, and in fact, they did. We have it listed as the geysers having had 20 plus earthquakes. You notice where this earthquake was off the coast here? The geysers is just down here, just uh, south and east of where that earthquake was. It was also on the San Andreas Fault. Okay, the geysers is just east of the San Andreas Fault. However, look how close this earthquake really was to the coast. Right where The Gorda Escarpment here comes um, into land here and intersects with what? The San Andreas Fault. Okay, so a 5.9 magnitude earthquake, and also we can't just not show you this too. This is the Cascadia subduction zone, and look at that small earthquake just north of there, just north of there. This was off the coast of Oregon earlier today at, well, actually last night at 11:54 p.m. 11:54 is when this earthquake hit just off the coast of Oregon, a 2.01 magnitude earthquake. Just a minor earthquake just inside, just east of the Cascadia subduction zone there. Okay, so we have had some earthquakes in that general area even during the past few days. If you noticed our reports, we've had 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, and even a 2.9 right here near the shore, right here near the shore at the Gorda Escarpment. So this is not necessarily um, well, we didn't predict it, we didn't forecast this earthquake, but it's not unusual for an earthquake of this size to hit after we've had so many smaller earthquakes that have hit that area. So this is not totally surprising. Now, let's look up north. Let's take a look up north in the Pacific Northwest area. Friday Harbor. Friday Harbor had a 2.03 magnitude earthquake up here near the Vancouver Island. Vancouver Island. Poulsbo, Washington had a 1.26 magnitude earthquake. Okay, it's right there, right smack dab where the inlet is there, and they have quite a few earthquakes in that general area. Okay, let's look further south. We've had a couple other earthquakes here. Okay, this one was at Mount Rainier. This was a 1.15, a 1.15 at the summit of Mount Rainier, or just below the summit of Mount Rainier. A 1.15 today. And that's not all, folks. There's more. Just southwest of there, we had a 0.63, 0.63 near the foothills of Mount Rainier today. Okay, so we have had earthquakes up in the Pacific Northwest, which doesn't surprise us at all. We've also had a couple of other earthquakes just a hair south and east of where these earthquakes hit. Cold Springs, Nevada, and also Loyalton, California at the Nevada-California border, a 1.40 there. 1.40 there. So we have had some earthquakes. We're going to keep a close eye on this. We may have some aftershocks. Usually an earthquake of this stature, of a 5.9 magnitude earthquake, will generate aftershocks. And these aftershocks usually start within 30 minutes to, in fact, they have had shorter time periods than that, 15 minutes after a large earthquake is this, there is usually some sign of aftershocks, and these aftershocks could continue for hours and even days. But we're kind of watching this and seeing if we have any aftershocks here. They have now downgraded this to a 5.88, a 5.88 magnitude earthquake. While we have you here, we've just also had a 4.0 magnitude earthquake up in Alaska. A 4.0 magnitude earthquake up in southern Alaska. We're going to show you where that hit. This hit over just north and north of Anchorage near Big Lake, Alaska. North of Anchorage. Let me turn the light down on this. I'm sorry. This earthquake hit over by Big Lake, Alaska, just north of Anchorage. 4.0 magnitude earthquake just hit up in Big Lake, Alaska this evening. It's interesting that it came in as a 5.6, folks, and then got upgraded to a 5.9 and downgraded to a 5.8. As of late, they usually don't, once they upgrade them like that, they don't take them back down at least right away. It's interesting, just to say the least. It's very interesting. But again, we've had a 5.8 magnitude earthquake just off the coast of Northern California. Petrolia, California. I will go here and open up the USGS map so I can show you this. Okay, now you can see the USGS map and see exactly where that 5.8 magnitude earthquake hit, approximately 44, 45 miles west of Petrolia, California, which is right here. I'm going to open this up just a little bit if I can, and I'm going to show you where that other earthquake hit. It hit just west of where this did. This hit, like I said, about 12:45 p.m. today, a 2.6 magnitude quake. So this probably was a foreshock, even though it was a very low-level earthquake. Okay, let me check something here. I'm going to try to open up the chat room here and see if we can take some questions from any of you. I have a feeling that a few of you have some questions about these earthquakes. We certainly did not expect to have a large or even a very large earthquake um, this evening. Oh, here it is, right there. And I'm hoping to bring up the chat room here in just a second. Okay, we have the chat room here in just a second. Okay, we have it here. Ah, what goes up usually comes down. Yes, negotiator, you're right. uh, and yes, Cindy Griffin, earthquake earthquakes do usually travel um, up the west coast of the Pacific Ocean, Asia, the Kuril Islands, and up Kamchatka Peninsula, over through the Aleutians, up in Alaska, and back down the west coast, headed south. We have had seismic energy locked up in Alaska. I still believe it is locked up there, but we have had seismic energy coming down the west coast of North America. I still believe that there is seismic energy locked up in the Pacific Northwest, up around the Juan de Fuca Fault area, um, that whole area, Vancouver Island. I believe we have seismic energy still locked up there. That just would not surprise me at all. but now we have had some energy release to the south of there, over on the Gorda Escarpment. Now, this isn't entirely new to us. We have had fours and fives over here on the Gorda Escarpment. Usually it's been about 125 miles off the coast. This is about as close um, as I've seen it come to the uh, the shore with a large earthquake like this. Now, with that said, the end of last summer, if you remember, there was a 5.9 magnitude earthquake in Petrolia, California itself, within about a mile of Petrolia, California. Now, you want to remember that right here, right here where the Gorda Escarpment meets the San Andreas Fault, this area of Petrolia, California, over out east is what they call the Mendocino Ridge. The Mendocino Ridge. And it is famous for having earthquakes, the Mendocino Ridge here. So that is not too surprising. And again, we had that 5.9 right here near Petrolia, California. But these larger earthquakes have usually stayed off the coast and even further off the coast than what we've seen tonight. What we've seen tonight. Yes, Rick, this is like a big party for us old kids. Uh, and Tall Volcano is trying to become active again over there in the Philippines. It has been throwing some small um, earthquakes, and scientists are looking at that volcano possibly coming active again. They're just monitoring it. And actually, I think a couple weeks ago they gave it a green signal, meaning nothing is really going to happen right away. But if it were to start smoking and throwing off steam again, and if there was magma seen at the summit of the tall volcano, then it would probably immediately go to a orange level volcanic eruption, awaiting the volcanic eruption at the tall volcano there. Um, Rick, I don't know about that. I don't remember that 6.4 out there. First report is at as a 6.7 by the old Oroville area. I don't remember that. I appreciate you sharing. I just don't remember that. Linda, it's good to see you too here. It's good to see everybody here. Sassy, Kathleen, Rick, Negotiator, Sheila's here. Yeah, I remember something about Oroville having an earthquake back in 75, 76 time period. I was not here. I was in Sweden at the time. Then then the other night we had that large earthquake down at the north end of Baja, or not Baja, um, the Gulf of California over there. None of this is really too surprising. Lisa, hello. Heidi, Puka's here. Yay. Yep. Scarlett said she wanted to do a show with us, and I haven't heard from her. I heard from Mel just a few minutes ago saying that Scarlett wanted to do a show with me tonight. but I don't have anything more. I'm looking here. Now, this earthquake actually hit. Let me bring up this map here. This earthquake actually hit just north of the Gorda Escarpment. Let me show you that map here. This map shows where this 5.8 magnitude earthquake hit, just north of that escarpment there. And actually, I don't think where that line is where the actual escarpment is. It's up here where you see the break. Get my finger out of there. Where you see the break here in the surface here. See that fissure here? That's actually where the escarpment is. So this earthquake, it looks like it hit right on the escarpment. Right directly on the escarpment. If we have anybody in the chat room that lives near this area, we would love to talk to you and find out if you even felt this earthquake. Terry Flores, hello. Tell all of my family and friends up in Idaho that I said hi. And Wandering American, hello over there in Central Florida. Ah, yes, it's good to see you. Doobie, it's good to see you again too. Welcome. Michael, welcome. Where do I know peeps? I have peeps in Boise. Got a cousin or two in Boise. I have family Pocatello, Blackfoot, Idaho Falls area. If you know where Driggs, Idaho, any of you know where Driggs, Idaho, my family owns a lot of property over there around Driggs. And at one time we were all going to split it up and put mobile homes over there and live out there, but I think we've all given up on that idea. Yes, Idaho is a beautiful state. I've had some good times in Idaho. We still don't have any um, word of any more earthquakes over there, any aftershocks. That's interesting that we haven't had any aftershocks here. I've got all 5 of my earthquake apps here. EMSC has this depth of this earthquake as being 1.4 miles now, 1.4 miles deep. USGS had this earthquake. USGS had this earthquake is 2.2 kilometers, which would be about 1 mile. 2.2 kilometers is equal to 1 mile, but EMSC has it as 1.4 miles deep. And it's interesting because earlier this afternoon, when I checked the USGS map, it said there were 47 earthquakes um, on the map of the world, and now they have 65 earthquakes that have been listed um, on the USGS map. And it should be noted, I'll have this figure for you in just a second. Earthquake Tracker gives us a list of earthquakes here. We've had 245 earthquakes since 1 minute after midnight last night. 245 earthquakes today. So we've had our share of earthquakes. Volcano Discovery also gives a total number of earthquakes. Right now, Volcano Discovery is reporting 14,953 earthquakes so far this year. So far this year, 14,953 earthquakes have hit the planet this year. Yes, Terry, this could be a foreshock. You're absolutely right. Let's pray that it's not a foreshock. Um, if this was a foreshock, that means that the uh, the main shock could probably be to the tune of an 8 or a 9, and in this lower area of the Cascadia subduction zone, that would be a terrible earthquake to have in this area. The the scientists, the experts, so-called experts, have said that the Cascadia earthquake will happen over around Puget Sound area or just off the coast, off the northwest coast near Vancouver Island and northern Washington. But I'm hoping that it doesn't happen over here, this this far south. It could wreak havoc. As it is, having a Cascadia earthquake of a 9.5, 10, 11 um, size earthquake, it's still going to take a pounding there on the coast, and we would again probably have a tsunami. More than likely, you have a tsunami, and that tsunami would go all the way down the coast, and it would also, according to Chris Goldfinger, possibly trigger the San Andreas Fault. And so we're going to be watching that. And I think everybody is watching that at this point in time. Michael, that's a good idea to refresh your water in those plastic storage tanks. We are going to be, I want to say, we're probably going to wait. I'm going to probably wait till May to refresh my water in those water tanks, and then add purification to it too at some point in time. Lolita has 14 comments as long roller. I've never seen long roller, and I remember seeing Lolita at one point in time. Okay, I've got to find Lolita here. There's a Lolita has a comment on EMSC. Let me see if I can pull up her comment on EMSC here. Okay, I'm pulling up the EMSC app again. Lolita said, a long roller, no damage. Fortuna says they were with a group of people and all of us sat through it and it seemed to roll a long time. No booms or noise. Two main jolts about 5 to 10 seconds apart, according to Rio Del, which was they were 88 kilometers from the epicenter. Eureka, someone in Eureka reported a sharp jolt, rolled our house pretty good. Another person from Eureka said was laying in bed, felt a strong jolting for quite a few seconds. McKinleyville, 107 kilometers from the epicenter. It was a long rolling motion, strong enough that my TV almost fell over. Someone else says live in a McKinleyville mobile home. Really felt it for 10 to 15 seconds. Somebody also up in Corning, California, lives in a motor home and felt it rocking for about 5 seconds. Someone at Mount Shasta said that they felt it sway and saw their blinds swinging. Someone in Oroville said felt a small roll. Richmond said short and constant chops. Someone in San Francisco said not felt on the 18th floor in San Francisco. And San Francisco was quite a distance south from where this earthquake hit. No, this would not be an aftershock from the 2.7 there. No, or 2.6 earlier today. That 2.6 hit at 12:45. If anything, that 2.6 was a foreshock to this quake. These minor quakes like that don't have aftershocks even larger. Someone in San Francisco said, I felt a steady wiggle on the top floor of my uh, liquefaction 3-story 1906 home in the center near Castro. Lasted a number, maybe 5 to 10 seconds. And the caster chair I sat on clearly shook side to side, and the dog perked up her ears, curious but not really upset. Los Gatos reported did not feel it, but chandelier was swaying. Interesting. So we have like 16 comments from people that felt this quake and reported it to the EMSC. This just points out, even after that quake hit over in Sonora in northern Mexico there, and then this quake tonight, it only points out the necessity to prepare ourselves for whatever comes to us, whether it be an earthquake, a hurricane, whether we have a famine, whether we have a liquefaction type situation over on shore, we have rivers flooding, whatever it is. it's a good thing. This is just a wake up call to us. This is just a good thing to know that, hey, we need to prepare. We need to keep preparing and be ready for whatever comes. Because this is not going to, I don't think this is going to stop. I just don't think so. This is the second 5.9 magnitude earthquake that's hit this nearly the same area in the past 6 months. Because, like I said, we had a 5.9 hit over next to Petrolia, literally within about a mile or so of Petrolia, and it hit on land 6 months ago. So this is offshore, and we're lucky that it was offshore tonight. There was no damage at all. And yes, Terry, this earthquake was felt over a large area from Castro all the way up north to, what was it? We have people reporting it 82 miles away, 87, 93 way up in Eureka, up north in Eureka, McKinleyville, which is 107 kilometers, approximately 75 miles north of the epicenter. So, and this one over in Corning, California, 256 kilometers, about 120 miles, 125 miles. So it was felt over a huge area. And the reports are coming in that it rolled for about 10 to 15 seconds. Heidi says that she has a bad feeling about this. When these kind of earthquakes hit, I don't necessarily have a bad feeling. I just feel like we need to prepare. We need to keep our eyes open. We can't take our eyes off the ball. I don't have necessarily a bad feeling. I just think, hey, we're going to have another one. And we should be ready for it. We should be ready for it. Terry called for a Cascadia type event 2 months ago, 3 months ago. And so far it hasn't happened. It's not to say that it won't happen, because it's going to. But we just need to protect ourselves. We need to prepare ourselves and our families and those we care about. Now, I have seen and spoken with several people who have said that they have been preparing their neighbors and friends because of what we've done on this program. To me, that means we've been successful. We've been successful in our mission to get people to prepare for emergencies in their lives. And it's not just a major earthquake, a major disaster we need to prepare for. Emergencies in our lives could happen at any time and could include even a loss of a job, or a fire in our home, or our neighbor's home, or a major fire like we've seen over in California earlier this year in Sonoma County area last year. We don't know what's going to happen. We need to be prepared for it. We need to help each other as well. So if anything comes from tonight's earthquake, and we don't have any other large earthquake for a while, one of the things that we could take from this earthquake is this is a wake-up call. This is a wake-up call that we need to continue to prepare and get our acts together, have an emergency preparedness plan, and have a preparedness kit. Have a preparedness kit. All right, folks, we've been on here for almost 45 minutes. I wanted to get on here and see if anybody had any questions. I was actually expecting an aftershock, which we have not had. And for that, I'm kind of grateful, actually. Rick, I'm so sorry to hear about your uncle. I know how that is. We'll all be praying for you and your family, Rick. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. We're so sorry for your loss. I know how bad that hurts. Does anybody have any questions for us? Candace, I'm so sorry to hear that you've been uh, getting picked on by people. That's just not right. We pray for you too that you'll find some peace in your life, peace in your mind. People shouldn't have to worry about people stabbing them in the back and all the other nonsense that goes on. And prayers to Linda's family as well. Absolutely. All right, folks, we're going to get out of here. I hope you have a wonderful night. We ask the Lord to bless each and every one of you, especially those that are having hard times with their families and have suffered losses, and those of you that have had strife in your life. We ask the Lord's blessings and protections to be upon you all. Do know that we love you, and we will be praying for you. God bless you all, my dear friends and family. You're awesome. You really are. We love each and every one of you. As Walter Cronkite would say, and that's the way it is. Sunday, Sunday night, March 8th, 2020. It is now 10:04 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We hope you have a great night, folks. God bless. Do know that we love you. And we will talk to you a little bit later. Have a great night. If anything else happens, we will be back with you as soon as it happens with the latest information about the emergency or disaster. Have a great night, folks. Have a great night, folks. Good night.